Hello, everybody. I am Kix at Adjusted Reality, and I hear that the kids like making videos, and they like watching videos. So, at the ripe old age of 39, why not try making videos? Well, it's kind of one of my New Year's resolutions that I wanted to try to start actually making videos. So, here I am. I figured I could talk about things when I have things to talk about, and I have things to talk about. Oh, yes, I do. So, my first video, I would like to talk about my 3 ill-advised races in 3 weeks that I did January and February. End of January, beginning of February. 3 weekends in a row, 3 races. I had approximately like this much training for some of them, and maybe like this much training for the other ones. And how did they turn out? What could go wrong? Well, I'll let you know. So pretty much all last year after the Ironman, I rode my bike when I felt like it, which was a lot, but I rode my bike and pretty much decided to take a break from really training. And then my first race back was going to be 3M, the 3M half marathon. I should know better than to ever make that my A race again, but we'll get there. So I was planning on doing that, and then there was the 6, 12, 24-hour race that I did last year in preparation for the Ironman. Came up again at Pace Bend, and it was so much fun, so I had to do it again. I figured, well, this is back 6 months ago when, future Leah, future Kix, future whoever had to do that, whatever name I'm calling myself nowadays. Whenever future me was like, oh, well, I'll go ahead and train for that half marathon, and I'll alternate weeks. I'll do a fast run one week, I'll do a longer, slower run the next week, and then every third week I'll take some time off and I'll do a long bike because that's less pounding, and it'll be great. And by the time I get to that 3M, I'm going to run like Olympian. It's going to be great. Then, of course, I decided to sign up for another century in October, and it didn't go very well. It was rainy and crappy and yucky, and we got 65 miles in. It was it was hot by then. It was just not a great day. Cool t-shirt though, so I don't regret doing it. But the ride itself was not that great. And then, so I kind of needed a break from training after that, and then my knee hurt, then my heel hurt, and then we went on vacation, and all of a sudden it was the middle of December, and my longest run was about 5 miles. And I had done approximately this many long rides since, So that's where I'm at. I actually got my ish together, and I trained pretty well for the 5 or 6 weeks leading up to 3M. It was supposed to be my A race, and some of the paces I was seeing, I was kind of on the edge of being able to run that 2:08 or whatever. I was hoping to run closer to a 2-hour flat. That's what I was going to train for, and I was really going to go for it, but sometimes you don't always get what you want. Let's see. So what I used was a modified, because I don't ever take anything at face value. I modify everything, even my recipe. Like, my husband will let you know that I can never cook from a recipe, and I can never take a training plan and just let it be. I always put my little spin on it. But I used a modified version of the first, which is not first, like as in my first half marathon, but Furman Institute of Running training program. I'm actually reading a book about that, which I'm sure I'll talk about at some video at some point soon. And it's running 3 times a week, but you run quality. So the long runs I wasn't doing as fast as I wanted to, just because I still had a little niggling little injury in my heel, and it was being cranky. But I was doing some really good speed work. Like I said, I was seeing some paces that were crazy. Let's go to hey, I've got some pictures. I like to take a lot of selfies, so it's gonna be weird because you got me here, and then you'll have, backwards. You have me here, and then you'll have a lot of me like up there. Where's that? There. I'm gonna have to work this out with it's backwards. It's like I'm pointing at it, but now I'm pointing at it. So, okay, sorry. Where was I? Woo, squirrel. Okay, so I was running 3 times a week, but it was all quality. I was doing tempo runs. I was actually getting a lot faster. Here we go. Here we go. See, this was, oh man. Alright, hold on. Why is this showing up, guys? Why? There we go. So, there's me. I had just gotten back from doing some really awesome track repeats, probably some. I think I did 3 800s and 3 400s around the track, and it was fast and it was awesome, and I was so ready to crush it, yeah. And then let's see what we got here. We got we're learning how to use camera here. There we go. That's me again at the track, like super excited, like, yeah, selfie time, because I just crushed that. I just ran so hard. I was gonna puke, but I didn't puke. Woo! Yeah, that's about where I was, like right at that. I'm like thinking, you know, maybe I can get a really good half marathon. Maybe the key is to just run for 5 weeks and go for it. So I was going to do that. I was going to try to go for it. My plan was to line up with the 2:05 pacer, and I was going to see if I could hang on. If I dropped back a little bit, that's fine. I had like three minutes of wiggle room. If I was able to stick with them, awesome. If I was feeling great, then I would try to move up to the 2-hour pacer. But, here's a picture of why, at least at the beginning, none of that happened. Da-da-da-da! So this is January 21st. January 21st. The 3 days before that, we were freezing. We had it was like a week before that. We had a snow day. We literally couldn't go to work because it was snowy and icy. And here I am, the morning of my race, in tri-shorts and a tank top because it was 70 degrees and it was humid and it was yucky and it was gross. Yeah, so, not good conditions, not great conditions, but you know what? I was still, 70 degrees, whatever. I'm going for it. So the heel at that point was moderately cranky. It had held out through training. The week of, it was a little crankier than it had been, so that didn't make me happy at all. I was definitely a wonderfully well-adjusted person to be around that week, let me tell you. So, unfortunately, it did kind of stick with me through the race. It wasn't too bad at first. I was able to ignore it. I was running just fine, but I think I adjusted my gait a little bit. So with the adjustment of that gait, I got this mega blister. Like, it was rivaling on the size of the ones that I got on the Ironman, and those were not cool. Not cool at all. Like, to the point where the last couple miles I'm walking, I'm like, why are my feet on fire? What has happened to my feet? Did not understand there was blisters. This time, I understood there was blisters, and it was not helping. I hung on to the pace that I needed to stick with, and my friends that were going that pace for the first half, but then I was just dropping back because, like, everything on that side of my body was just falling apart. It was like knee was hurting, ankle was hurting, heel was hurting, blister was hurting. So I slowed down. I think I was running about 9:30s. I slowed down to more like 10s, and I was like, okay, maybe I can regroup. Maybe I can just take a little bit of time, and then I can just speed to the finish. And then around mile 9, my stomach decided to revolt because it didn't like something about the last 24 hours that I ate. So spent a little bit of time in the porta potty, which was not fun. I think I took a selfie and put it on Instagram. I was looking for it. Thank goodness it was a story. I was like, this is what giving up looks like. I was just not having a good day. So I'm in the porta potty, and then I come out and hey, I decided, whatever. I'm done with this race. I'm just gonna jog it in, walk it in, run, walk, jog, whatever. And I see Matt. And Matt is not having a good day either. Sorry, Matt. I don't mean to talk about your race and all, but we walked and ran, and I had my blister and he had his legs cramping, and we talked about all sorts of random stuff. And after a while, I was just kind of ready to be done, but I was walking with him, and he kept stopping because he kept cramping up, and he told me, he's like, "Can you run?" I'm like, "Yeah, but I don't care. I don't care. It's like already 2.5 hours, whatever." I was going PR or bust. And so he was like, no. Stop being stupid, go run. So I'm like, fine. So I ran the last half mile. So I came in about 2 hours and 30 minutes, which totally respectable if that's the time that you're gunning for. And it's certainly not my worst half marathon ever, but it could have gone better. But that's okay. What did go really well was the beer tent. After we actually hung out for quite a while, these three guys, me and those two guys, and our friend Brian, who had finished, I don't know, I think he finished about 2:10 or something like that. That guy, Joel over there, Jetzers for real, if you find him on the streams, or Jetzers or whatever, he was in at like 2:08 or something like that, like just really close to his PR, and he trained it even less than I did, because he's a lucky SOB who, it really is the least amount that he runs, the better he gets. So that jerk. And then there's Matt over there smiling. One of them is giving me the horns, I'm not sure which, but so I was very happy to finish, and we had a couple beers, and then we came home and we had a couple more beers, and we put that race behind us. Let's see. So, what do you do after you finish a half marathon and don't know what to do next? You just randomly sign up for the Lifetime Indoor Tri, because why not? Why not go race a triathlon in January when I haven't had a swim in like maybe 3 months? Okay, maybe I've had like 2 or 3 swims, but one of them was kind of in the ocean. That doesn't really count. Definitely not speed work. And I've been doing bikes, and I have been training run, so there. I'm going to suck really bad at swim, and I'm going to do okay on the bike, and then I'm going to do better on the run. That's what I figured was going to happen. So, and here's the classiest selfie ever. Let me take a selfie in the Lifetime Tri locker room with that beautiful little wastebasket down there. Yeah, that's great. It wasn't actually the picture I had intended to grab, but, that's... So the thing about the Lifetime Indoor Tri, I do like doing this one every year because it's so unique. You start out in a pool, which is kind of different. There's some indoor tries that start in pools, but this is one of those that it's all indoors. So you start in the pool. You do as many laps as you can do in 10 minutes. Then you get out and you have 10 minutes to change and get up to the cycling studio. And then you have 30 minutes to kick your own ass on the bike. And then you have 5 minutes to regroup and run until you puke. That's how my day went. Well, almost. So I went ahead and, and by the way, this is the race out of nowhere. This was supposed to be the same weekend as 3M, so we were like, I guess we're not going to do it. And then they just randomly changed it a week or 2 ahead of time. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do 3 races in 3 weeks on little training, because why not? So, I swam the day before for the first time in a month, just to remember, to see if I remembered how, and it's kind of like riding a bike, except in a pool with, swimming. I'm at the point where I'm probably not going to get too much slower than I am right now, unless I try really hard. So I knew exactly what I was going to swim, and I swam the exact same I did last year. I did 19 laps, which is 475 meters in 5 minutes. Considering how I swim in my pool, I think their pool's a little long because really 2 minutes per 100 is kind of like cruise pace for me. So it's either I just didn't really do that well, or I've never done that well there, or their pool's a little long. I'm going to keep the ego intact and say pool's a little long. So then you do that. So I swam my 19 lengths, not laps, lengths. If I said 19 laps, that would have been awesome. But no, I didn't do that. Lengths. So I changed, and you think, oh, 10 minutes to change. What luxury! What wonder! Until you actually have to do it and get all your stuff and get up there. I'm just like hopping on the bike and trying to get my music ready, and I'm like, oh, okay, we're starting. So I do this bike, and now I've done a little bit more speed training over the last couple weeks, so it wouldn't be quite as bad. But I'd really just kind of done biking as cross training, like easy days between running when I was doing running hard. So going to like that place where you just feel like you're so uncomfortable and everything's terrible, and I've been doing those in like intervals of 1 or 2 minutes. I got there and I was like, oh, I have 29 more minutes to stay at this horribly uncomfortable pace. All right, let's do this. And I'm just sitting there with my headphones in, just like, don't die, don't die. And let's see, next picture. So that's all the sweat. That's sweat. Like every single droplet there is sweat. That's not water. That's sweat, and it's probably about a quarter of what was on there. And I ended up with 10.1. Unfortunately, it ticked over to 10.2 after they took the reading. 162 watts average, which I wasn't that thrilled with, because I think I did a little bit better last year. But then again, last year I was riding a lot more, like lots more, because I was training for an Ironman, and this year I'm training for not an Ironman, not at all. So I had 10.4 last year. I had 10.1 this year, which sounds like, whatever, who cares, 0.3, whatever. But this would actually bite me in the ass later. So then you go to the run, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I am so trained right now to run a fast 20 minutes, because I've done lots of speed work like that. And I get on, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to start at like 9-minute mile pace. I'm going to work my way down to like Olympian speed. It's going to be awesome. So I get up there, I start, and Olympian speed is not happening, because I forgot about that whole really tough bike ride that I had just done, and had 5 minutes to regroup. So here I am running like 9:30s. Pretty much the same pace I was running that half marathon before everything went to crap. I'm like, I'm gonna die. I'm just gonna die. I'm just death right now. So I do have to say, I feel like a little bit of a badass, because I pushed through. I didn't let myself go, nope, I'm just gonna run 10-minute miles and let it go. I kept upping my speed and kept going and going. And I actually got 0.05 more. I got 2.13 miles in 20 minutes. And I kept bumping it up at the end, even though I thought I was going to fall off the end of the treadmill. I thought I was going to puke. I thought I was going to die. But I did not. So I was really happy with the process, because the swim, I wasn't training swim. Whatever happened with the swim. The bike, I really wasn't training the bike at that point. I wasn't training the bike. So I'm okay with how those went. I'm actually really happy that I got as close to I did last year when I was really training. But I'm super stoked about the run. It would have been a really great pace for me on an outdoor triathlon, and I'm hoping that will help with stuff to come. Unfortunately, a lot of other ladies showed up that were really good, and I usually end up getting like I call it my fake podium because they don't do any awards or anything, but I've gotten first overall woman once, and I don't get to say that very much because I'm not usually close to that top of the pack. But this year I ended up with 6th. But I'm happy with the race. I was just a little bummed about the placement, but whatevs. We move on. And when you move on, you 6 days later go camping, right? Because that's what we do. That's how we do. So we went out to Pace Bend Park for the Pace Bend Ultra, which is a 6-hour race, a 12-hour race, an 18-hour race, and a 24-hour race. So let's talk about lack of training. I feel like I was prepared to run 13 miles. I wasn't. I'd done a 10-mile long run. I'd done an 11-mile long run. Let's be honest, I wasn't trained to run a PR or anything, but I was going to be fine. Lifetime indoor tri, wasn't trained to go fast, but I was trained for... I have never been so untrained for a distance in my life as this 6-hour bike ride. My bike rides since October 22nd have consisted of 1 2.5-hour cruiser bike that took about 10 hours total, maybe more, where I was just kind of tooling around town. I've got a 90-minute trainer ride. Getting close to the 90 minutes, I'm like, wow, this is a really long ride, y'all. Y'all being me and myself and Joel and the iguana, because it was in the bike room. And then we did an hour trainer ride after the indoor tri. We were going to do a longer ride, but that didn't happen because of being exhausted from going peak pace for an hour and also maybe some beer. So I chose poorly in terms of training, and here I am on Friday setting up camp in our little camper. This picture, this is before the race, but I'm just freaking the heck out because I have never done a race on solo. Like, it was just blowing my mind. I'm like, the cool thing is it was a 6-hour race in 6-mile loops. So if I were to just die and not be able, my legs stop working at hour 2.5, I could just go sit back by the camper. I could pull out a snack and I could be done. So it was no pressure, but I'm just the kind of person that wants to do the best I can at what I'm doing, so I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to pull over at 2.5 hours. So yeah, we get there, we set up camp, we sent off the 24 hours at 6 p.m. on Friday, and I'm just like, okay, if these guys can if these guys can ride for 24 hours, I can ride for 6. I can ride for 6. No problem. I had also made the mistake of looking up the start list, because this is another one where I was like, oh, maybe I can, just be like one of the people that showed up that doesn't die and get a placement in my age group. And no, the other 3 people in my age group, because there were 4, were pros. They were pros. Literally pros. So yeah, here I am riding at the race that I'm most unprepared for ever in my life, and my competition are literally pros. So the cool thing was, I knew I was going to finish last. I knew it going in, so I had accepted. I was like, hashtag Team DFL. Joel and I rode together for 6 whole hours, and both of us actually had pretty good rides. Like last year when I did this and I was training for the Ironman, I had some real low points in my, hour, a lot more miles than hours, hour 3 and hour 4, where I wanted to sign up for the half instead of the full. That was fine. I never needed to ride that far on the bike again. I just wanted to throw it away. Sorry, Death Star. We won't tell you. We won't tell you that's what was going through my mind. But So some real low points. Like, it was just miserable. I mean, the weather was a little worse. It was 40 and sleeting. This was just 50 and kind of windy and cold. And don't you love my super pro leg warmers there. Yeah, I got those at the fancy costume store for $10. So, yeah. So, here I am at the start line. Well, almost here I am at the start line. Let's go to the start line. There I am. I actually really like that picture. I think it's fun. So we started, and I think within maybe 10 feet, everybody else had taken off. Like, they were like whiz. And Joel and I have our little helmets with their little communicators. We have our little like walkie-talkies, and we're like, okay, well, this is how it's gonna be. Let's ride some bikes. So we rode, and it was actually good. I would say right around 3 hours, it started to feel like a long ride. I was kind of like, okay. The time has started to go about a tenth of the speed it was before it ticked over to 3 hours. When it ticked over to 4 hours, my legs started getting a little crampy and cranky, and then we stopped and stretched out and got some more food, and then got back on the bike, and I would say a lap from the end, they started to get cranky again, and I was like, well, maybe it's time to be done and drink some beer and eat some barbecue. And I was like, no, that's not what Ironmen do. So we passed by that start line again, and we went around for our last lap, even though it meant nothing to anybody else. Like, everybody had lapped us by at least 2 laps at that point. But I'm still proud that we went out and we did our last lap, and we were the last 2 people in. And last year we both got 14 laps, which is 87 miles. This year we got 13 laps, which was 81 miles in 6 hours. Our speed was literally exactly the same. The only difference was that we stopped a little longer. Last year we had a team tent with people like helping. This year we used our camper, which was you had to kind of go around and get in the camper and do stuff, so it took longer. And also we weren't training to try to do a 112-mile bike ride. This was just funsies, because don't you all ride for 6 hours in loops for funsies? I do, apparently. So camping was super fun. Doing the race was super fun. When I was good, before I was like, I'm never doing this race again. It's too pro. It's too expensive. I don't want to do this. And then after, I'm like, well, maybe I'll do the 12-hour, because why not? There was one girl who did the 12-hour, and she didn't do all that many more miles than we did. So, who knows? Who knows? Super fun. Loved the camping part of it. Love races that start in the afternoon. It started at noon. If every race could start at noon, I would be the happiest camper in the world. Also, it was super fun because we got to kind of go explore the next day, and I wanted to share a couple of those pictures with you. This, ladies and gentlemen, was the lake which I did my first triathlon in. And no, I did not get eaten by the swamp thing. It looked just about this gross too. But, it still got me hooked, so why not? Whatever. And it was super awesome and foggy and fun. I went around and I took a bunch of pictures, and this was one of just like how pretty it was the next day. So, and this is a tradition for that race. It's always kind of crappy the day of, and then the next day is absolutely beautiful and wonderful weather. So you get, I should have brought my mug in. Oh, I'll have to share that with you later. But we got badass medals last year that said official badass. This year we got mugs. So I guess you have to earn your official badass gear. So after that, what are the takeaways? What did I do? What? the 3M is just never going to be my race. I'm not trying to be defeatist. It's never like that great time of year for me. January is just not a, let's go PR the crap out of something. It's like, okay, let's go get this started. So I've already signed up for the race again next year because they always offer it really cheap, like the day after, and I don't know what makes us keep signing up for it, but it's super fun. It's always fun. Even if it's not a good race, it's a fun race. So we're going to do that again. Yeah, even if it's not a good race to PR, it's really good motivation to train over the winter, because it's really easy in December just to be like, I'll just eat candy canes and drink eggnog and not do anything active. And this is like, okay, at least go out and get your three runs and start doing some things that are double digits, and it's good. It's a good thing. I also found I think the real takeaway here is that if I can get a good month of speed work under my belt, pretty much I've learned in all the sports, if I can get a good month of speed work, I start to improve. Funny that, you do something for a while, you improve. Ha! Ha! This is a surprise to nobody but me. Okay, with less training, I did almost exactly the same at the indoor tri, which is kind of cool. It's also kind of frustrating because it seems like I'm at this plateau here that I don't have to work real hard to do that level, but I have to work really, really hard to get better. So I'm just going to have to work really hard and get better. That's the only option. I'll do another video because this one's getting real long. This is like half an hour. Sorry, guys. Another one to talk about what I'm doing this year, but this is 3 races. So the indoor tri, I will probably always sign up for it because it's super fun. And it's a great rust buster. You don't sign up for anything like serious in January, but it's fun to go be like, oh, okay, let's kind of like shake up the cobwebs and see what we got in here. Yeah. The 6-hour race, I'm amazed. Like, I am so amazed and so proud of what I did on so little training, and I actually felt fine the next day. I mean, obviously you ride bikes for 6 hours, you're going to be a little sore, but my legs seem to have held all those miles. Like, I think it was like 3,400 some miles last year on the bike, and my legs seem to hold on to that, and I'm very happy that they did, because it could have been bad. And like I said, I went into this race saying I would not do this one again. No, not going to do it. But I don't know. We'll see. They're talking about some format changes that I don't love, like changing the race to Saturday to Sunday and starting it at 6 a.m. so that the 6-hour riders are like midnight to 6, and that just doesn't really appeal to me. But we'll see. I hopefully they can talk, that people will talk them out of that, and we'll see. It'll be hard to pass up the excuse to go camping for a weekend and ride bikes. So maybe we'll do the 6. Maybe we'll just jump in and do the 12 and be stupid. If for some reason I decided to jump in and do, I am Texas in 2019, which really isn't the plan, but we're not really thinking that far. 12 hours of bike riding would be an absolutely wonderful, wonderful training day. Or I could just crew, volunteer. I don't know. I still haven't decided on that one, but it's a year away, so. So after that, we enjoyed a nice chill week. We did go lift weights twice, and I think we rode bikes like indoors once or twice, but it was a great week. And now we're on to doing different things, not running like crazy and riding bikes. And well, I'm still riding bikes because, well, come on, riding bikes. That's always going to happen. So I will talk about what we're doing next in a whole nother video. But I don't know. Let's see. What do you got? Have you ever had a race that you trained for that went like completely off the rails, like 3M, where it was just like everything was going wrong? Have you ever jumped into a race that you were just super unprepared for and actually did not well in terms of placement? Well, maybe you did. Maybe you got first. Maybe you jumped in and you were like, I'm not ready for this race, and then you just like got first. Maybe you have that awesome story. But comments or questions? Want to know anything about anything? I'll make up something. I'm just kidding. Hit me up, and this has been Kicks for Adjusted Reality, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.